So today we're looking at a question of how to draw this. I believe this is the mount for a strut, and we're going to model that in Fusion 360. I'm going to talk about a few ways to model it and show a Fusion bug as well. So let's jump in and take a look. So here we are. I'm in Fusion now, and I've imported the image as a canvas. It's not the best image because there's some error there from the camera being off-center and some perspective distortion, but it should be pretty close. So let's go in and create a sketch. So the way that I would normally design this is come in here and make a line down like this, make a line over here, and there's 360 degrees in a circle. This has 3 points, so it should be 360 divided by 3 is 120 degrees between these points. Okay? Now, these are symmetrical, so they should be of equal length, and I can make these into construction lines. And then I'll come up here and use the spline tool. This is the fit point spline tool, and connect these two with a line like this, and then a little green check mark to make it okay. And then if I make these handles here perpendicular with these lines back to the midpoint, then that will give me the shape that I want. And I can make these handles have an equal constraint. And now with that done, I can adjust the handles to get the pretty close approximation to the shape. Looks like I'm off a little bit here. Again, perspective distortion. I'm not going to be able to make this perfect, but let's see how close we can get this. Bring this in just a smidgen. Okay. Maybe a little more curve. Okay. So that is a good way to approximate this curve visibly. Then I will come in to create a circular pattern and grab this, rotate it around the center point, and if I hide the canvas, that will give me my shape. If you're making guitar picks, there you go, there's your guitar pick. But here's a problem. Here's why you shouldn't do that. So I'm gonna, turn the canvas back on here. Let's say I want to tweak this. So it looks like this is in a little bit too far. Let me grab this point here and try moving it out. And now my curvature is gone. This is a bug in Fusion, and I've reported it as a bug. The workaround for this is instead of doing a fit point spline, you could make a control point spline to do this, or you could model just this corner here, extrude that, and then circular pattern it after you had extruded it. There's a better way to do this. So one of the people replied on the thread suggesting to construct this in a different way with a set of circles and arcs, and I'm going to show how to do that. Normally I redact the names on this, but Edward's solution here is much too useful for me to just make it anonymous. So well done to him. So I'll show the other way to model this. So jump back into the sketch here. Probably butcher this pronunciation, but I believe that is a rouleau triangle is how you pronounce that. So I'm going to Control Z here a few times and go back to just my sketch and canvas. And let's get rid of these lines. Get rid of all of this. Delete. Delete. There we go. Bring back the canvas, please. All right. And so the method that he suggested is to we'll make a circle that defines the rough size of what we're trying to make. And here I can tweak that canvas one more time to make it fit. That looks like a pretty good match for it. Now, we make this circle into a construction line. I'm going to hide the canvas here. And now we need to draw a line here that's on the, I'm going to make it where it crosses the center point, so we'll make it coincident with the center point, and this needs to be, in this case, a vertical line. And we're going to draw two arcs here. The first arc that we're going to draw, we'll create arc, center point arc, is this curve right down here is the one that we're going to do first. So I'm going to grab this point, come down here, and sketch to this other side over here. Now, I don't have that right. Looks like it needs to be a little closer in, and I can wiggle this around. I'm not going to wiggle that around any more than that for now. In a moment, I'll show you how this is a place where we have to trust the process. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create another arc, center point arc, somewhere on this line that's not constrained. So we'll go with right here. I'm going to sketch from roughly right here to right here. Now, I know that that is wrong. Again, we're going to trust the process. I'm going to hide my canvas again, and I'm going to grab this little arc down here. This is the shorter of the two. I'm going to make it tangent with my construction circle. Okay. Now I need to create a circular pattern for these two arcs here. Now, this looks a little bit like an umbrella to me, so I'm going to call this the umbrella pattern. I'm going to circular pattern these, and this is a triangle, so I've got quantity is 3 for 3 different sides. Trust the process. We're almost there. Now I want to create a coincident constraint between this arc and this arc, and the same thing, another coincident arc constraint here and here. And then the last step that I want to do is go back and make those tangent to each other, and that's it. It's done. So now I've drawn that same shape, and this I have the ability to resize and change this curvature. Why is this better than the other method, assuming they fix the fusion bug, or why is this a good way to do it? So when you have the physical part in your hand, you can get a tool like this. This is a fillet gauge. I'm not recommending Temu here. I have this specific tool that's from them, but you can also get 3D printable versions from Thingiverse or Printables to measure those. Or you can use a radius gauge that fits on a set of calipers to measure these distances, and then you can specifically set with a dimension tool the dimension of this, the dimension of this great circle here, and the dimension of these corner arcs, and set these to get specific shapes based off of the measurement of your part. And that is way easier when you have the part in your hand than just eyeballing it. So let's see if we can get close here. So with this great circle here, I think 190. 190 is too big. 180. Then radius of 20, and then make this one smaller. If I delete this, I can just drag it. And I can much more closely match the part based off of actual measurements instead of just eyeballing it. So a fantastic trick, and I really appreciate him sharing this. And this will fully constrain the geometry. Let's see which one is not. This one that I need to fully constrain here. The 132. And now if I hide the canvas behind this, this is fully constrained. This line here in the middle is a construction line. And that's a much better way, in my opinion, to model that than going through and designing it the other way. So pretty fantastic trick there, and great for modeling. Hope that helps.